Greece's second-largest island is separated from the mainland by the narrow Strait of Euripus. With a fierce, mountainous spine and roads that often degrade to dirt tracks on the coast, Evia still isn't accustomed to tourism. But there's much to see, as those mountains have waterfalls, gorges, and can be admired in all their splendor on winding roads. To call the beaches on Evia remote doesn't sum up just how far removed from civilization they can be. Today we share the top 10 best things to do in Evia so you can plan a trip and experience all the exciting attractions and activities this beautiful city has to offer. Starting with number 10, Edipsos Springs. Directly on the strait in Edipsos is a thermal spring that was mentioned by both Aristotle and Plutarch. In 1897, the high-luxury Thermosilla Spa was built on the spring and in its time has attracted famous figures like Aristotle Onassis, Winston Churchill, and Omar Sharif. Fortunately, you don't have to book into that establishment to experience the mineral-rich waters. These are claimed to soothe muscular and skeletal problems, as well as the endocrine system due to their trace radon levels. At number 9 is the Drimona Waterfall. In Evia's north, at an elevation of 620 meters is a waterfall in a heart-lifting mountainous landscape. The waterfall is wrapped in fresh oak and fir forest and is served by a flight of stone steps. The flow can be pretty lean in the hot summer, but even when the water level is low, the falls are no less beautiful, and this is down to the rocky overhang behind and the clear emerald pool below. Visit in spring and there's more of a torrent due to the melting snow running off the mountains. At the top of the steps by the road is a cafe and forest ranger's office with a small exhibition of fossils found in the area. At number 8, Karababa Castle. Right across the strait from Alkida is a fortress put up by the Ottomans in 1684 to defend the town against the Venetians. The stronghold caps a cypress-dotted hill with arresting views of Halkida, Evia, and the Strait. And if you're wondering why the architecture is European, the fortress was designed by a Venetian, Gerolamo Galoppo, and then held out during an unsuccessful siege by the Venetians in 1688. Facing Halkida is a hexagonal bastion armed with 2 Russian cannons from the 19th century. In the fortress vaults there's also a lapidarium, with ancient building fragments, Venetian ornamental carvings and renditions of the Lion of St. Mark. At number 7, Archaeological Museum of Eretria. Eretria is important enough that a lot of its ceramics and statues unearthed are now on show at the National Archaeological Museum in Athens or the Louvre. But the museum at the site still has lots of interesting things to see. One is a terracotta figurine of a centaur, dating to the 10th century BC and found in a tomb at the village of Lefkandi. From 560 BC you'll find a stunning funerary amphora showing Heracles fighting the centaurs and a depiction of Potnia Theron, mistress of the animals, behind. At number 6 in our list, Chiliadou Beach. If you like your beaches to be wild and open to the elements, Chiliadou is the one for you. The journey there isn't easy as it takes more than an hour from Alkida, but for the last third the Serpentine Road weaves through a sublime mountainous landscape, past the 1,742-meter Dirfys Peak. Finally, you'll be at 3 beaches in an otherwise fearsome environment of gnarled limestone cliffs. The largest of these beaches is Chiliadou, formerly just for naturists as it's so remote, but now visited by all. At number 5, Drakospita. Scattered around Styra in the south of Evia are some 25 megalithic structures, all perched on hills and mountains. Made with huge slabs of gray limestone, these pyramid-like buildings have dry stone walls, bound purely by weight and without any sort of mortar. They also blend with their rocky backdrops, and often hardly look man-made until you see the rectangular doorways framed by massive slabs and their lintels and jambs. The best and most researched example is on Mount Oak at almost 1,400 meters, where the lintel is 4 meters long and 2 meters wide, weighing a mind-boggling 10 tons. At number 4, Kalamos Beach. Holidaymakers will travel all the way from Athens, 120 kilometers away, for this beach on the east coast of Evia. Kalamos is actually 2 beaches side by side. The larger is Kali, good, as it has calmer waters, while the smaller of the two is Kakia, wicked, as the sea is a bit rougher here. The latter is normally lined with tents as many visitors camp overnight or for whole weekends rather than making the long drive back the same day. Kali is worth every mile of the journey, with a surface of pale sand and fine pebbles, and sun loungers that come free with the price of drink at the bar. At number 3 in our list, Dimosari Gorge. After sizing up the Dragon House on Mount Oak, you can embark on the hike of a lifetime on an old shepherd's path through this gorge. Walking the Dimosari Gorge takes around half a day, and the path through a forest with oaks, holly, chestnut trees, plane trees, and wild olive and pear trees. Halfway along the gorge is the bucolic village of Lenosioi, while the terrain varies from a gentle valley to a rocky ravine with waterfalls and rapids. Go quietly and you may have some animal encounters, as the forest is a habitat for rich bird life including buzzards, eagles, owls, and nightingales. At number 2, Euripus Strait and High Bridge. The channel separating Evia from Boeotia on mainland Greece is the scene of a strange natural phenomenon. Unlike the remainder of the eastern Mediterranean, the Euripus Strait has strong currents, flowing at up 12 kilometers an hour. At peak flow, small vessels are unable to sail against the tide. What's more, the tidal flow changes direction around 4 times a day, and when that flow is reversed, vortices form in the water. Check out the number 1 places in our list, ancient Eretria and theater. Some 20 kilometers along the strait southeast of Halkida lie the ruins of the ancient polis of Eretria. The oldest finds date back to the 9th century BC. But by the 1st century BC, Eretria was in decline after being ransacked in the First Mithridatic War against Rome. The site has 2 palaces, 4 temples, baths, a gymnasium, and a house with mosaics. But the showstopper is the theater, one of oldest in ancient Greece, dating from the 5th century BC. What's so special about this monument is that it was laid on a man-made hill supported by retaining walls, much more of a feat than if it had simply used the slopes of Eretria's citadel. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite things to do in Evia? Is there something we missed? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to Greenable if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.